Hi everyone, my name is Rubio, representative for District 35, and this is my legislative update. It is June 10th, 2019, Monday evening, and I am currently in Santa Fe. I drove in early this morning so that I could attend the subcommittee, the interim subcommittee for infrastructure, or transportation and infrastructure. And today was just an organizational meeting, so that just means that we're planning out the agenda for the remainder of the year. And we're going to be meeting after today 4 more times, one of which we decided today would be in Roswell, and the other one would be probably somewhere in the northwestern part of the state. So we should have that finalized pretty soon, in addition to some of the agenda items. Sorry, I'm also sick. I thought I had allergies, but I don't know if it's just something else. But so if you can't hear me, I apologize for that. So the agenda today. So we will. There's a lot of different types of conversations that were had today related to potential issues that we could be discussing. First and foremost, the Department of Transportation has about $700 million that it has in its budget. Some of it is recurring, others is non-recurring, which means that recurring means it's budgeted for continuous years. Non-recurring means it's just a one-time deal. And so a lot of it depends on oil and gas. And so today part of that conversation was that the reason that we're able to have a good year right now is because of how well oil and gas did and has been doing. And so I think one of my biggest takeaways from the committee meeting this morning, or to this afternoon, is that so much of what we can do, or what we're statutorily expected to do, depends all on our funding, which you all have known that, and I know that. I guess what's still very much surprising to me is how this is still not an alarming, as alarming to some in terms of our dependence on oil and gas, and how it's imperative that we diversify. And so one of the things that I've just been thinking and reflecting on this afternoon since we left is that so many of the issues that we care about, like there's so many of us legislators who are really interested in wanting to do the really good things and the right things, but it requires money. And so how do we think through in the long term when oil and gas is really the only thing that we see as our priority, or our top revenue sources, without considering other sources, and then on top of that thinking through what better investments should we be making once we do have those funds available. And so there's a lot of things that going through my head about that, because as we're talking about roads, last night I was driving back from Austin, Texas. I went to go visit my nephews, and as I was driving through from West Texas into the southeastern part of the state, which is where I grew up, and I was heading to my parents' house in Lake Arthur, which is about 15 minutes north of Artesia, is just how crappy the roads are. And not even just crappy, they're bad. There's a ton of potholes and things like that, but it's also really, really dangerous. There was not very much lighting. And this was around 9 o'clock at night, where I know that a majority of the people who work out in the oil fields are working, and I don't know. We're talking about this being our primary source of income, and yet the infrastructure that exists in those places aren't 100%. And then we're unwilling to expand to other sources of revenue, I think is troubling. And so I think this will be part of the theme for the next couple days when it comes to diversifying our economy and all of the needs that we have as a state. Wednesday, we will be meeting in Rural and Economic Development, so I'll give an update then. And then Thursday is the committee I'm chairing, and it's the radioactive and hazardous materials. And hopefully part of what I'm working on and have been working on in terms of trying to diversify our economy is the outdoor industry and outdoor recreation industry. I'll be heading to Denver next week to participate in the outdoor retail, this big thing that they do, and I'm going to be speaking on equity, inclusion, and diversity around the outdoors. And so those are some of the things that I'm thinking about and how we diversify our economy, but also doing it in a way that upholds the spirit of conservation and all those things. But anyways, those are just some of the things that I'm thinking about. Saturday, I'm resuming my Spill the Beans, so I hope you can make it at 10 a.m. on Saturday at Beck's Coffee. And that's it. I'm sorry, I'm feeling super groggy right now, and I'm excited to share more about some of the things that I'm working on this week, and I will certainly be in touch. So with that, have a good evening. Good night.